So it's been real, man. I'm gonna have to put you on another board, I think. You can't be on my main board anymore, Darklight. We're gonna have to replace you. At least on this board. With the Sunlight Stereo, even though I'm gonna run it in mono. But maybe one day I'll run it in stereo. Hey, welcome to the my Pedalboard Diary. I switched out one fuzz for these two. I always had the Fuzz Factory on my other board forever with my Black Russian, and that was my thing when I was using fuzz and getting, crazy ass feedback and all that fun stuff. And then I started using the Earthquaker devices because it just cut through the mix live. And now I really don't care because I haven't been playing live, but I will be eventually again. And my wife turned me on to this pedal, the T4 from Brown Amplification, and it's like, yeah, what the heck? It's the right size, and it sounds great, and it stacks really well with the Fuzz Factory, and then the death metal stacks really good with this heavy earth black metal pedal. Well, black metal overdrive, and this has a gate in it, blah 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 blah. But yeah, this is the new edition, the Sunlight. As far as I didn't want to buy it. I wouldn't even watch the videos on YouTube for a while, and then I realized it had MIDI, and I was like, okay, you had me at MIDI. Because I love the reverb. I love the Sunlight pedal. It's like one of my favorite pedals of all time as far as reverbs go. And it is my favorite reverb of all time, the Sunlight. So when the Darklight came out, I had already had a Sunlight and a Dark Star together. And I was like, no brainer, right? So I got that. But I was always more into the Sunlight than the Dark Star. Although they do sound great together. When this came out, it's smaller, has MIDI. I'm like, yeah, that's let me try that. So that's what it's all about, right? And then yeah. So I'm gonna talk about a few things right now as far as the Pedalboard Diary goes. So I recently got the H90. I will be selling the H9 soon. I have a few pedals that I want to sell to pay for that purchase, because that's an expensive pedal, and this was an expensive pedal. So yeah, Jesus, you know what I mean? Pedals are crazy, but I'm trying not to buy pedals anymore. I'm just writing now, you know what I mean? I'm trying to write. I like to get pedals to demonstrate them for other people, and because I'm always curious anyway, so most of the time I buy them myself. Some of them do get sent to me, not a whole lot yet, but I'm sure at some point, some more people will send me stuff. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's the Sunlight with the super phaser in front of it. So while everybody's raving about the Line 6 Stadium, which I would love to get it, but you know, I just, with all those things, they always get mushy somehow. They don't do what these things do together when you mix them just right. You can get them close, but I always find that the clarity and the push-pull isn't the same. That's just me. A lot of guitar players are doing great things with them, but I think for what I do, it's just, you know, but maybe one day. And then, yeah, my thing right now is these stack together well, these stack together well, and then they stack all together well, which is crazy. Because, you know, I've seen people, you know, oh, I like to stack my drives, and I was always like, what? You know, I grew up playing a crate solid state amp. I had one sound, turn the volume down if I wanted it to be clean, turn my volume back up for my heavy sound, and that was it. As far as live goes, eventually I started to throw in a whammy pedal and a delay pedal and an auto, maybe a vibrato. I went through different phases and stuff, but I never, you know, it wasn't a must-have for a while. Eventually, yeah, I did have some things, but, you know. And so I wasn't really keen to stacking a bunch of drives, and I really never was into overdrive pedals or distortion pedals, per se. I had them for recording purposes, but, you know, I think it's because I had a solid state amp, so no matter what distortion pedal I put in front of it, it was going to sound like shit. And now I find out like death metal bands were doing that, and you know they had some guitar tones that now we're like, yeah, which is pretty funny because it's the same thing with analog and digital recordings where people are like, oh, I want the sound of tape hiss and all this shit, when people were trying to get rid of that stuff. And it's just, that's how the nature of these things go. I want that old sound. I want the crackles of the vinyl, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, I'm hip to all that. I love all that stuff, but it's just a funny thing. So I'm just talking. This video is just kind of my diary. And, you know, I moved from Philly to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So yes, I have people come in here, and that's my kind of my social life, is when I'm recording people or doing video work for people. But yeah, so I'm just going to talk to y'all. But anyway, so let's check this T4 out, man. So this will take the fuzz well too, and you can put them in front and blah blah blah. It sounds good, but clean sound. It's a Marshall JVM 410 on the clean channel. I could just, if they just made that by itself and it sounds just like that, I would buy that. But that's what I have. I didn't know I was gonna love it. I love it. All right. So here we go. Here's the T4. Now I'm going to stack it. That's what's cool about having a Boss CS8. If you have stuff on and you just want to mute it, instead of turning this off, I could, whatever. But I have a mute for everything, whenever I need it, in case of emergencies. So now I'm going to show you these two together. Without that, this has a gate. Without it, you hear that noise? It helps, you know what I'm saying? But it also tightens this thing up. So without this, now I'm gonna put these two on with these two, and you're gonna be surprised because it sounds pretty good. But first, the noise. All right, now I have this in trails mode on here, so that's why you hear that ringing out even though I turn it off. And yeah, so I wanted to get rid of this super phaser, but I get things really close with digital stuff, and especially clean, it's kind of good enough sometimes for certain things, but once it's in front of distortion or after distortion or fuzz, then you really hear a difference. Let me see. I think this is just phaser now. I'm still learning the H9, but so that is this. So I'm trying to get them together here. Oh, they're together. Let me start that over. Whoops. That sounded cool together, though. This is the super phaser. And the H90. It's really hard to, you know what I mean? It's tough. So the thing is, I like it there because it's already in 3. And this is after all my drives because I use it for delays and stuff like that too. But, you know, it's not hard to, have it as a preset, but I do like to have certain things just to be in their spot for that reason. But let's try that same thing with it going into fuzz right now. So that's that and that. All right. Now, I know that live, most likely, nobody would ever be like, oh, I wish he had that super phaser by Boss. But I know, and I play for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do, I play in front of people, but I play for me. So I want to hear it a specific way. You know what I'm saying? I'm very more in tune with everything these days compared to how I used to be when I was younger, before I could give a shit. You know what I mean? Oh, that sounds cool, bro. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. And now I'm more like, a mad scientist with it. So anyway, yeah. And then I can switch these things any way I want to. And this is one of my favorite things to do. Let's see. And this is connected to MIDI too, so I can have this all switch when I make presets, but I'm just doing it in manual mode to show things, so I don't have to remember anything, you know what I'm saying? This is my swell. And when I put this on, I'm in D. Whoops. You sick of hearing that yet? And then I can put on a reverb and it's going to sound. Then I put on the T4. And then this Nemesis I use for long delay lines. And I think the H90 can do similar stuff, but the Nemesis tail's different, and I just prefer it for that. Although I can get away with the H90 doing it, but there's something about the Nemesis that I really love. Like, I was able to dial this in to kind of remind me of a Boss DD3 in a way. So it's just a delay, digital delay line, but you know, if you're used to that sound, it has a thing. You know, it's like a lot of people, me included, spend a lot of time trying to get rid of that clickety-clickety in a delay line, but sometimes you want it, you know? Some things just call for it, like one of my jams. So I like it to have the attack on there for that. And yeah, so I use the whammy for octave down, not to be Rage Against the Machine, but just for certain things, for like those kind of sludgy riffs, but you know, a little bit slower. And then the fifths, and then I use it to whammy up, but not an octave, more like a fifth or a fourth. And I use that also to play different chord progressions where I can go in between and just get these weird things happening, because I'll be having the same voicing but playing it with this. And it just sounds different. I like it. I like how it sounds. So then I also have this compressor that's not in the loop. That's first thing in the chain. And let's see, anything else? Expression pedal is connected to here, can control anything over MIDI, but this is hardwired into here, and so is the H90. And then I have the Source Audio C4, and I use that. Let's see what I don't know what it's on right now. But it has like really, it's kind of like the synth-o-matic from line 6. Put it in front of a fuzz or an overdrive, and it's really good. And then this. And then what else? No. Do that. Where's my sounds? There's one. There's another one. How come it's not? There it is. So there's just a few ways that I use the pedal board. And for each song, I create my presets using this. So I'm not doing what I just did, but if I'm coming up with stuff or I'm jamming, then I'll put it in the manual mode and just treat it like all my stomp boxes are right here, and dial in things as I see fit, and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm really happy with this pedal board. It is heavy, but it does a lot of things that I like, that I want, that I just can't get from multi-effects units. You know, they have their place, but they're not as alive to me. The push-pull, the transient response, or lack of of any transient if you want it to be. You know what I mean? You can mold this thing just like that, you know? And that's part 2 of my diary, because I'm just starting this whole new thing for the channel, because us guitar players that use pedal boards like this and play shoegaze, doomgaze, you know, all the stuff, pretty much have these kind of problems where we want to change this pedal for that pedal and do this, that, and the other thing. And then you run into issues every time you change something because this doesn't do that or it doesn't fit here. It's always some kind of issue, power supply issue. MIDI doesn't work quite right because you don't have the right freaking MIDI to TRS, you know, all the stupid stuff that happens. And yeah. So, if you got anything out of this, or if you like hanging out here, this channel, I experiment with guitar pedals and synths, drum machines, guitars, pro audio stuff, the console stuff, the, you know, recording things, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just like a chill hangout type of thing. I get sponsored here and there for things, but not a lot. Like, I'm not shilling a bunch of stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that either. I don't really care, because I know when somebody's doing that stuff, I get to listen to what they're doing. I don't feel like anybody's trying to trick me into buying something. You know what I mean? They're not like, hey, this is really good, and you hear it and you're like, no, it's not really good for what I do. That's how you got to think about it. So, you know what I mean? Like, you listen, you watch a few videos, and you go, okay, all right, that video, I like what he did with it, and that's kind of closer to what I do, and I can tell that it works, blah, 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 for what I do. So I bought plenty of pedals that they sounded good in the context of somebody else's stuff, and when I got it, I was like, it doesn't work for me in the context of it going with everything else I own. So you got to think about it like that, you know what I mean? Not everything works with everything. So certain things, especially like fuzzes, some fuzzes can be thin and some have more bottom end, and then you're like, oh, I'm missing the bottom end, but then the other one has more mid-range and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if you think it's funny that I have a death metal pedal on here, the reason is it matches well with fuzzes. It's kind of almost a fuzz in its own way. Yes, it can do distortion, but it's borderline fuzz. So it's just a little tighter than normal fuzz, I guess. But yeah. And I mean, when I say tight, I don't mean like super tight. But compared to fuzz, it has a transient attack on it, you know? So that's it for today. Please subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell. Doing a bunch of stuff here. And I'll see you guys and gals in the next one. Bye.